So back in the day, we lived in my uncle's two-bedroom apartment. My uncle, his wife, their 3 children in one room, and in the other, my parents, my newborn brother Ariel, and myself. One evening after dinner, Mommy put Ariel down to bed. She asked my Aunt Betania to listen out for him as she took me to do some laundry. In the basement laundromat, we encountered our neighbor, a Jamaican lady named Katrina, whom Mommy would always chat with. Now, Mommy had arrived from the Dominican Republic about 4 years prior, but having always been around Spanish speakers, she hadn't picked up much English. Now, between Karina's strung together sentences in Spanish and Mommy's limited assortment of English phrases, somehow they made conversation. Imagínate. Algo tenía que ser sentido, because we would just be laughing our heads off, she recalls. Now, while they kept each other entertained, I played tag with her daughter, Tiffany, and we were circling around the drain in the middle of the room where water had accumulated. I stepped right into it and slipped headfirst. My chin hit the floor and immediately burst open. Mommy rushed over as I let out a scream, and the blood was rushing down my neck. Tina, go, take him upstairs. I'll take the clothes from the dryer and I'll bring them up. But where do I go? How do I fix this? Take him to the hospital. Placing a t-shirt over my chin, Mommy rushed me upstairs. That's a good question, though. How would she take me to the hospital? Papi worked daytime at a hotel by JFK and evenings at a coffee shop in Jackson Heights. My uncle also worked 2 jobs and presently found himself at a bodega in Jamaica, Queens. Well, I'll see if Juan is available, offered up Betania. Juan, an older Peruvian gentleman that lived down the hall from us, usually drove a cab at night, but today found himself at home. Returning, Betania said that he would be over in 5 minutes. He was sleeping and his wife had to wake him. Imagine having to wake up to have to rush a kid to the hospital. So Juan drove us over to the emergency room at St. John's Hospital in Queens. His English, while limited as well, was certainly better than Mommy's. So he helped us through the process. The waiting room was crowded, and we were in for a long night. We sat for what felt like forever until Papi showed up. ¿Y tú de vuelta tan temprano? Betania called and I had to tell the boss, my dad responded. Both of my parents recall a sense of relief coming over them. Mommy at the sight of my father, and Papi, imagining the worst, was glad to see things under control. Juan, gracias de corazón, he said. You can go home, I've got it from here. After almost 4 hours, we were called in. They ended up putting 4 stitches in my chin. And on our way out of the hospital, I begged my parents if we could stop at the White Castle across the street. Ay, Dios mío. Only you would think about food at a time like this. I'm just so hungry, Mommy, please. Bueno, el día que pierda el apetito, that's when we'll have to worry. Not all of the neighbors were quite as friendly as Katrina and as Juan. Some of them were quite hostile, especially the few holdovers from when Corona had a different demographic. They didn't care much for the holiday celebrations, the smell of our food, the music that we played, occasionally into late in the evenings, or the copious amounts of Spanish that were being spoken throughout the building and the neighborhood. The common thread for most of the residents was that they had recently immigrated, abandoning their homes and finding themselves alone in this country. It forced them to come out of their shells a little bit. We leaned on each other to get through the hard times, and the close-knit community we formed created bonds that superseded nationality.